Never forget.
Well, we can't include that.
Are you sure?
I mean, maybe we can now. Screw it.
Oh, man.
Okay. I clapped. We're ready. Welcome to Fortyborn. Oh, wait. Welcome to Fortydead. I can't even do it with a straight face. Is that what you want to do?
I love that intro. Oh,
Okay.
wait.
Welcome to Fortydead, the Limited Lorcana podcast, where a gaming veteran
And a gaming novice.
used to discuss all things Lorcana. With a focus on limited formats, we used to cover set reviews, strategy guides, and stuff that nobody asked for.
Let's get deader together. I feel so bad.
We laugh so we don't cry.
Yeah, we do. Well,
you may have heard the news. We are ending the podcast.
shutting her down.
Yes. Sorry. Bye, y'all.
That's it. No, we can't go out like that.
No.
But we are kind of going out.
We are going out, yeah. The podcast is coming to a close, unfortunately. The weekly show, I should say.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. We've done 60 episodes. We've only missed 1 week, and that was when I had a baby.
Honestly, more than I thought we'd get through when we started.
Yeah. Same.
When did we start? Like a year ago?
A year ago. We've done it for a year.
Wow.
That's, part of the reason we're stopping.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a year.
Yeah.
5 sets in. It's been a blast.
It has.
We started recording like 2 weeks or so after the first set came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, it's been a journey.
Yeah, I remember you were like, I want to make a podcast about this game that's coming out.
And you're like, say less.
I was like, what does that mean for me? Just sit down and hang out with you once a week? I'm in.
No, once every other week.
You're right.
Yeah, so we we'll get into a little bit about why we're stepping away, but I think first of all, we just wanted to say thank you. Thank you to specifically our listeners. Like, we've had a consistent group of listeners for months now.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that really advocate for us online, that always have our backs, that are active in our Discord. Thank all of you.
Yeah.
We could name specific names, but I'm sure we would miss some people.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for all of the interest that you have had in our podcast and in us, like just chatting in our Discord, talking about hot dogs and sports and a million things not related to Lorcana.
For real.
Yeah.
Thanks for putting up with us. I don't think we could say enough thanks, but I guess thanks for choosing to spend your time with us.
Yeah.
Whether that be, popping in the Discord, whether that be just putting us on in your day-to-day life. I think that's something that, I guess you put a podcast out for people to hear it, but when we started it, that wasn't how I viewed it. Like, I didn't think about, oh yeah, people are going to be actively listening to this. I just thought like, yeah, cool. Let's do that. So when you hear the stories of like, oh, every Tuesday I'd put you guys on my way to work, or that's the stuff that I think I'm going to miss the most.
Yeah. It is. That's the part I think that makes me really sad, honestly, is like, I know that, and I don't mean this in a conceited way. Several of you have told us that you enjoy listening to our content regularly. Mm-hmm. And I know I have like podcasts that I listen to each day of the week, mm-hmm. and it does make me sad that that's changing for people.
Yeah.
But I promise you, there are better things released on Tuesdays.
You're gonna just be free your mind to the possibilities of things you can do apart from listening to us.
I would recommend the Danny Brown Show. That's my Tuesday listening.
Nice.
That is not safe for kids, but honestly, you don't have to be safe for kids and make Lorcana content anymore. So it's totally fine. Yeah, I think it has been a great journey. I'm proud of us. Mm-hmm. A question that I always ask content creators when we interview them is, how do you define success as a content creator? And for me, I think it's just doing it. Mm-hmm. Like, when we sit down and we record an episode and I actually get the episode uploaded on time, that is a success.
Yeah, right.
Even if people aren't listening to it.
Put out a product, for sure.
Yes, exactly. So we have succeeded. Like, my first goal was, let's do 10 episodes. And then I was like, let's just make it to the next set. And then this is sort of a natural, I feel like, conclusion for us. It's been a year. And yeah, anything else you want to say before we get into like why we're shutting it down?
I don't think so. Just genuinely, I hope it's like, I know it's upsetting when things end. I think I literally just talked about that on the last podcast. I don't like when things end. So like, I hope you understand, like, it's not, you know, it's just right for us at the time to be concluding like this, I think.
Yeah.
So truly everyone that we've interacted with, who's like shown support, it's been awesome.
Yeah. It's not you, it's us.
It's not you, it's us.
And Ravensburger. But it's just, yeah, the support from the community has been really encouraging. But I also just want to take a moment and highlight like some of the content creators that have been super encouraging. Like, a lot of times the content creator space can be kind of people think of it as like a net zero situation in terms of like game theory, where it's like, for me to win means that you must lose.
Oh, yeah.
For me to be happy means you must be sad. But that's not true.
Yeah.
In real life, it's not true. But a lot of times people in creative spaces treat it that way.
Yeah.
But that's not the case with the content creators. Like, every single person that we've reached out to has been willing to help how we've asked them to help, like to come on the show or to give us advice. Now, we've been ghosted a couple times, and you know what? I maybe shot my shot a little bit too early with Frank Carson, I'll admit. You know, maybe DMing Frank Carson when we're 10 episodes in wasn't my best move. But
I still go back and read it sometimes.
I thought it was pretty well written.
Yes, it was nice.
Yeah, but people have been super supportive.
Yeah,
specifically when we first posted, literally our first video on YouTube, the first comment we ever got was from the Live Laugh Lorcana girls. And we would not have done this as long as we have done this without the two of them.
Absolutely not.
I would say that's fair.
True beacons of, and I feel like you know that if you're in their space and in their circles of like their content, but truly just two genuine people who want to do good by everyone, and I mean that, like, everyone. And I think that shows through everything they do. Like, if they put out content about anything, I would be like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Let's go. So
yeah, they've
been super kind, super, it's inspirations on like how to be people, not just content creators.
I can hear Ada crying. She feels just as heartbroken as we are to leave the Live Laugh Lorcana community.
She feels the sense.
No, I just wanted to thank Katie and Becky for the content that y'all make and for the voice that y'all have on behalf of women and minority genders in the space. And yeah, I mean, the group chat that we have has given me life throughout the course of this game.
For sure.
Just talking about the game and deck ideas and getting help and inspiration. They have just been incredible, and how they move in their Discord and on the camera is how they move behind the scenes as well. Like, they're very genuine, very real people.
Yeah, 100%.
Sweet. I also wanted to thank Rebecca from the Lorcana Luminary, because when we started our Instagram, she like really went above and beyond to help us out. And now we don't really post super often on there. Yeah. But that's not a her problem. That's a us problem. But she was like sending me voice memos and like huge things of text on tips and tricks to grow your audience. Like, she's always willing to chat. She was willing to come on the show. We were going to queue her up. But not now. Same thing as Why Breezy. I reached out to him. He was like over the moon to come on. Super stoked. But yeah, the show's wrapped up. So yeah. It's just, I am kind of sad that we didn't get to interview everyone that I wanted to interview.
For sure.
But we did get to interview some of them. So like, I wanted to shout out Kendall and Artifacts for coming on. Like, two super high level players that were willing to come on like a dumb podcast where we don't know what we're talking about and we don't even focus on the format that they are experts in.
Yeah.
They were both super nice, and I chat with them in DMs and stuff often. And then Liam and Aaron from the Illumineers have never been on the show, but they've always been super supportive behind the scenes. Yeah. Liam is a huge Limited fan. I've chatted with him. I chatted with him in Atlanta multiple times. Just super great people.
Yeah.
Super charitable, like giving starter decks and cards out to people in need, and just super generous with their time and with their energy. Like, I think it's easy to see the people that are at the pinnacle of content creation in this space. Like, they got flown out for a lorecast, and they have been going to challenges. And I promise you, they have not made money on this.
Yeah.
Like, if they got paid for their time to go out to Seattle or wherever they're at, where they make this game, if they flown out to Seattle or flown out to these events to host them, maybe they made a couple $100, but I promise you they spent more than that to get to that point beforehand.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I think it's easy to look at maybe the higher end, like the more established, more well-known content creators in the space, and be like, oh, they're like really successful.
They're doing great. Yeah.
They are, depending on how you define success. But if you include monetary return on investment into the equation, not a single Lorcana content creator is successful.
Not a lot of that happening.
No, we are all in the red. Some of us more than others, but that's okay. And I also wanted to thank the guys from this week in Ink, Jonty and Brandon. I know Jonty just stepped away from Lorcana content creation. Hopefully he's back somewhat soon, and I haven't spoken to him about why he stepped away or why we're stepping away. We're trying to keep this on the DL before it's out. But yeah, it's just making content is hard.
Yeah.
In general. And in this space, I would say it's even more difficult.
For sure.
But Jonty has always answered my questions and been encouraging and given information when I needed it about, random things, and helped with audio quality questions and technology stuff. Like, Jonty and Brandon have both been super supportive and kind and helpful, even when their channels have far outpaced our own.
Yeah,
for
sure.
So they're great. Go support them. I don't know what their content looks like at this point. I know that they just are sunsetting the Real Play Network. But yeah, I think that's it. Oh, Knive. I wanted to thank Knive.
For sure.
Yeah, Knive came on the show pretty early on, and me and Knive DM pretty regularly around release time as we're both making our set reviews. Yeah. It's like, is this card's trash, right? And usually we agree, but sometimes he thinks Croquet Mallet's good. And, well, I still think it's trash. But no, having another like limited focus content creator has been awesome. Like, Knive is great. He is a delightful person, like we've said, off screen as well as on. Always willing to answer a limited question. When I was playing in Atlanta, I didn't know if I could split my last round. So I was like furiously DMing him before the round, like, here's how many points I have, what are the, like, blah, blah, blah. And he was able to help me confidently know that if I went 1-1, I was not going to get a Let It Go promo, so I had to win. So that was helpful to know.
For sure.
And then Pavel. I wanted to thank Pavel for making Pixelborn.
For real.
We'll talk about that maybe more later, but he was so generous with the money that he got from that. It all went to charity. So generous with his time. He made the game accessible to people at a time when it was not accessible. Yeah. Spoiler, it's still not accessible. And yeah, that was super awesome.
Yeah, wild. Yeah.
Just a great guy. Like, go play on Pixelborn Connect. Support Pavel however, he is currently being supported. And then, yeah, I think that's it. Like,
For sure we didn't thank everyone we needed to, but...
No, absolutely not.
But just anyone we've ever interacted with that was, kind, gracious, like, supportive.
No one's ever been unkind to us, I would say.
No.
I've seen people be rude to other people, but no one's ever been rude to us.
Yeah.
That's fair to say.
Yeah, I've not experienced...
Or I've heard, like, through back content creator channels of, like, weird stuff happening with specific people. But I've never seen it spill over into, like, any sort of drama or negativity in real life.
For sure.
And everyone's always treated us with the utmost respect and generosity. So thank you to the content creators.
Even if we didn't deserve it.
Yeah, we've never deserved it. But yeah, I think about why we made this podcast. It's like, one, the game is great. Yeah. That hasn't changed. Like, we still love to play Lorcana. Yeah. That is like one of the hardest reasons for me to quit doing this, because I legitimately love playing this game. It's a lot of fun. I now enjoy playing it more than I enjoy playing Magic, which is something that I didn't think would ever happen.
Yeah.
But I've come to appreciate the, I don't want to say simplicity, because it's not, I'm not saying easier. I just mean simplicity in terms of like, Magic has gotten so complicated and convoluted that it's a lot. It's sort of overwhelming. And this is like the right level of complexity for me.
Approachable.
A lot of depth, but that's not super complicated. So I really love the game and where it's at.
Yeah.
And I love the direction it's going. Like, you know, the new cards coming out, they don't look super exciting for limited, but some of them look fun for constructed.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love the game. We love recording the podcast, like hanging out,
yeah,
you know, spending
sure.
time together. And we love our community. Yeah. So it's like, it's hard to see. I mean, you and I are going to keep hanging out, so that's not going to be a problem.
Right.
But like, I'm not going to play Lorcana as much now.
Yeah.
Which makes me sad. But I can't.
Yeah.
Pixelborn's gone, and I have a newborn.
Right.
Like, I can't go to League, right? Like, I can go to League, but it's like a bigger ask now, right? Like to say, sorry, Sky, I'm going to step away for 4 hours. Are you good? The answer is yes, like she will survive, but doing that every week is a lot, and there are other things I would rather do with my free time.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like,
takes a toll.
We're not stopping the podcast because of Ada, because I had a baby.
Yeah.
But like, now that we're stopping the podcast, I am excited to use my free time and creative energy differently.
Correct.
You know?
Yep.
So like, we love playing Lorcana. That's going to be hard because we're not going to do that as much. We love recording the podcast. That's not as hard for me because you and I are still going to hang out all the time.
For sure.
And then we love the community. Currently the plan is to keep the Discord going.
Yeah.
But instead of it being like the Fortyborn Discord, I think it's just going to be a general limited Discord. I'll open up the position for like introducing some other moderators, and it won't be like, I don't think it will be like branded for us, but who knows? If you want updates on that, hop in the Discord.
Right. Yeah. More will happen there.
So the community side is going to be tough. I really hate disappointing people, and I feel like some people are going to be, upset.
For sure.
But seeing people's response to Jaunty was, I think, encouraging.
Yeah.
That people are like, do what you got to do.
Right. Exactly.
So this is us doing what we got to do. Yeah. So yeah, why are we quitting the podcast?
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons, but first of all, it's just a lot. Like making a weekly show, even if it's, 2 or 3 hours a week. I spend more than that per week on this. Like, contrary to popular belief, I do spend a lot of time preparing for these episodes and writing the scripts and stuff.
I hope you do understand that. We joke that I just show up and start recording. That's literally what happens. This guy's doing all the behind the scenes things, all the making things run properly. I can promise you he's spending a lot more time than the time that you're listening.
Well, I think everybody knows that I make the thumbnails. They look like trash.
You could have just said I do that.
Oh yeah, that was your contribution. No, but it's like, I think there's more that goes into this than just pressing record, right? Like we have to engage regularly on Twitter. We have to engage regularly on our Discord. We have to set up future things with other content creators. We have to appear on other content creators' content. We have to keep up with the game. Like, I try to stay up to date with Constructed.
Right.
Good enough to make a Constructed podcast, even though I don't do that. It's just a lot of time.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's time that I could make happen. Like, this isn't the biggest reason that we're quitting.
Yeah.
It's part of the equation. It's just right now, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
And I know that might be hurtful to some people that listen, and it's like, shouldn't you do it for the love of the game? And it's like, yeah, but I only have so much free time, and I only have so much time on this planet. And when I look back a year from now, 5 years from now, making a podcast that hovers around 2,000 downloads a month and gets no recognition that we exist from the company that makes the game.
Yeah.
Not just us, but the format that we discussed. They don't even acknowledge its existence. It's kind of hard to find the energy to do that.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't take if Ravensburger's not going to take limited seriously, it's hard for us to find the energy to continue to advocate on their behalf for a format that we think is great, but they clearly don't think is great.
Right.
And so that's kind of hard.
Yeah, there may be a time that comes where it's beneficial for them to recognize that and acknowledge that and promote that.
And if they do, we might be back. Like, this might not be permanent,
right.
You know? Like, I don't want to say balls in Ravensburger's court because I have no misconceptions. I know they're not listening to our podcast. But
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to start taking limited seriously and invest in it by acknowledging it and saying you can run set championships as limited, or by addressing concerns about the simplicity of the drafting, like that's a lot of people say it's too easy to draft, or it's not that fun because of the color restrictions. I do think they could put a little bit more effort into actually supporting it as a format in terms of making the deck construction aspect more interesting. They put no thought into it, or they put barely any thought into it.
Right.
Like, this is the just slap a band. It just feels like they slapped a Band-Aid on the game and said, here's limited formats.
Yeah.
And I hoped that it would change. Like, I think that I'm sort of rambling, but the thing I want to put home, like the point I want to make is we knew that this podcast was a gamble. And the gamble was, if we go super niche and just discuss the limited version of Lorcana, one, that's what I like.
Yeah.
That's what I know how to talk about because of my experience with Magic, and that's what I enjoy. Two, people aren't talking about it. It's just us and Knive. Knive was making YouTube primarily at the time. We were doing audio primarily at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, great, we'll do a weekly podcast talking about limited and sometimes talk about some other things. And the hope was that one day Ravensburger would be like, now we love limited.
Yeah.
Like, Constructed has had its time. We still love it. But we've gotten to a point where now we can start investing in other parts of the game. That time has not come. It's been a year. So I think it's time for us to just sort of step back.
Yeah. And that's, again, just one more reason. Nothing we're saying is like, here's the... Because there wasn't that. There wasn't like a, oh, well, this happened, so we're out. Like that. And I don't know if that ever would happen, but it's just like for where we're both at, for what return is on time put in.
Yeah.
It's just not the right move to keep going.
Yeah. And like, there's a lot of pieces to it, but I have no ill will towards anyone specifically at Ravensburger.
For sure.
But as an organization, they just have different priorities that don't cater to us.
Yeah.
I mean, and they don't owe that to us.
Exactly.
They don't owe anything to anyone, So it's like, I got no beef with them.
Yeah.
They're going all in on Constructed, and I get it. It's doing well. It's a good game.
Right.
And it's growing. There are some things that I'm confused by, like decisions that they make that are confusing.
Yeah.
Like, so many of the decisions that they make confuse me, but that's okay.
It's working for them, right?
Yeah, I mean, the game's growing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because of them or in spite of them sometimes. Like, you don't record your Twitch streams and reshare them? What? No. You don't record the Lorecast and reshare it?
No. It's just one and done.
You don't send product out to prominent content creators? Not us, just anyone for like early releases or anything? Or have any, like, if you're an EU creator, you get some good perks sometimes. Like, some of them get to go and do early set championships and things like that. There's more direct engagement, it seems like, between Ravensburger and Europe. There's no direct engagement.
Yeah.
Like, for North American content creators. Like, they asked us to fill out a form, and I did that a year ago and haven't heard from them. Nobody has heard anything from them related to this form. And if you reach out to them about, I'm a content creator, what should I do? They point you to the form. Like, that happened to me. Because last set, when we didn't get a card reveal, I was like, hey, is there anything that we could do to, like, help? Help us. Like, is our content not aligning with your vision? Like, what can we do to improve to get on your radar to try to get a card reveal? Because, like, a card reveal, honestly, is not that big of a deal. It's not like it's going to suddenly make us, as big as the Illumineers or anything. But it's mostly, it's validation that you exist from the company that's making the game.
Right.
Like, it's encouragement. Like, you are doing something that we value and appreciate.
Yeah.
So when you're getting as many downloads and views as people that are getting those reveals, you start to wonder, like, what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not look like that because of our YouTube views. And I'm not sitting here trying to, like, take anyone else down. I don't care who gets a set reveal. Like, if you get it, great, you deserved it. And I'm not saying that we are owed one or we deserve one. But, I mean, we're getting, like, 2,000 downloads a month. Like, that's not nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we don't get that many views on YouTube, but we're getting a lot of downloads on the audio side of things.
Yeah.
So I feel like we would be a good fit for a card reveal, especially because we're limited. So you can give us something that's good and limited, but not constructed. But whatever. I DM'd them, and their response was, "Have you filled out this form?" I'm like, well, first of all, I would think that you would know who has and hasn't filled out the form. But not that you would have it memorized, but it's like, it seems like you could just Command F some table somewhere and see if our names show up. But whatever. Anyways, yeah, it's like, just go fill out this form. Okay, I did that. Yeah, that's all you can do for now.
Good work.
Heard nothing. So it's just like, it's kind of discouraging as a content creator when you don't see any content creators getting engagement outside of like the same 5 that are like casting, and it's like no ill will towards the people that are casting, or the Illuminators got flown out for the lore cast. As I've mentioned, all of those people that were casting, they're awesome. They deserve it. They 100% deserve it.
For sure.
But seeing like great content creators get passed over is just over and over again. It's kind of hard. Like, I don't know how Knive hasn't gotten a card reveal. Like, he should have gotten a card reveal. That's just like a good, common, and limited. But no, they would rather reveal that card by just sharing it in someone's live stream in the chat.
Yeah.
Like, they've done that so many times, and it's like, you're already giving those people a reveal. Why are you just throwing away this reveal? That it could have meant the world to Knives to get a card reveal, or to us. It's like, it's validation that you exist as a content creator.
Yeah.
We recognize you. We appreciate you. None of that.
Would it have meant the world to you?
No, I mean, it would have meant it would have been encouraging.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe it would have meant a whole new world to me.
Oh.
I'll cut that. Yeah, so I don't want to be too sassy, but that's a piece of it.
A piece.
A piece of it. And
again, no piece was the piece.
No.
Just a bunch of small reasons.
Yeah, for sure. I will say them shutting down Pixelborn was
seemed like a tough move.
That was the first domino for me that was like, wow, this might be time to wrap it up. And I know that might sound ridiculous because we don't ever talk about Pixelborn. Well, we were advised to not discuss Pixelborn on our podcast. Turns out that didn't matter. You can make content on Pixelborn, and you'll still get to collaborate with Ravensburg. You can cuss, you can do anything you want on your content. Like, there's like these unspoken rules that were passed around to content creators. Supposedly up the chain they were from Ravensburger. Turns out none of that matters. You can do anything you want, and you'll still get a collab.
Man, so. I didn't have to be drinking this Topo Chico seltzer water.
There's no alcohol in that.
That's what I mean.
Oh, so you're saying you could have drinking one with alcohol in it? Yeah.
Just saying, could have spiced up my content.
Yeah, we could have had a sponsorship. Topo Chico hard seltzer.
Anyways. Pixelborn shutdown was crazy.
Oh, yeah, no, the Pixelborn thing, because there's a lot of layers to it.
Lots of layers.
But for me, the biggest thing is it's like either Ravensburger is incompetent or Disney is hamstringing them. That's the only explanation for a bunch of things that I see that happen with this game.
Right.
And I don't think Ravensburger is incompetent.
Correct.
Like they are hiring
an incredible game, yeah.
They're hiring people that know what they're doing, and they're making a good game.
For sure.
So
the shutdown was a big
yeah, Disney's just gonna do whatever they want. Disney can do anything with this game, and we all have to face the consequences. And as a content creator, I don't really want to attach my cart to that horse. Is that right? Is that a good analogy?
I have no idea.
Oh, it's just like, I don't want to be tied to Disney's power in terms of like, if they just decide one day that you and I, what we're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
They strike us for copyright and we have to take down all of our videos or something crazy.
Imagine Disney acknowledging us.
Oh no, maybe that would make me feel good if
They shut us down. Here's why we're shutting down.
we're martyrs.
Disney has asked us to step away.
The mouses came and kicked our teeth in. No, I just think it's like shutting down Pixelborn was so ridiculously out of touch with the state of the game.
It was a bummer to make the game inaccessible to a lot of people. Right?
Don't get me started on accessibility with this game.
We'll go down a rabbit hole. But that was never the point. The point of a game is not to be accessible. The point of the game for Disney is to
Make money.
Make Disney money.
Well, yeah, and I get that, but I think that they didn't make any more money from this. Like, I don't think they were losing money because Pixelborn existed.
Yeah, no.
Like, it was bringing people into the game and then converting them into people that were buying packs and cards.
For sure.
Like, it's a way to play the game before you
Mm-hmm.
do it. Now, if they're making a client, great. But shutting the game down before you have a client, shutting Pixelborn down is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, there's no explanation for it. And then people will try to bend over backwards to get on Ravensburger's good side by acting like this is a good thing or not that big of a deal. This is not a good thing. It's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Stop trying to kiss Ravensburger's ass. Like, it's not a good thing. We can quit acting like it is. Like, people will bend over backwards to try to be like, no, that was a good
I'm
call.
so glad Pixelborn is gone. I do not want to play a game right now online. I would hate that.
It would really suck if parents could play the game, you know? If poor people could play the game. It would be so lame if people in other countries could play this game. That would be really stupid and anti-Disney. No, it's like, it is funny when like we talk about accessibility with this game or people want to talk about inclusion. I'm all for inclusion, you know? Like, we try to avoid politics on here as much as we can. But I don't mean, you know, because apparently the word inclusion is like a trigger word for people on the right these days. But we're in the pot. I don't care.
No,
But I mean inclusion in the sense of like, this is a table that has room for everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
That is so not true with this
not
game.
this game.
And people want to act like it is. Cause
People
it's like,
are definitely trying to make that true. Like, there's people out there voicing and like advocating for that.
Yeah, but
that's
people
not the
never
state of the game.
people
though.
never talk about the fact that packs are $6 and the top deck was $700. That's not accessible.
No.
Like, to be a competitive player is not accessible. Like, this is a hyper luxury activity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like accessible for people above a certain socioeconomic class.
For sure.
And it's like there was a way to enjoy the game for people who could not afford to play the game. You know, you lost $0 because they can't afford to play the game. So they weren't going to give you any money either way. Now they just can't enjoy your game. And it's just like kind of frustrating. And I think that inclusion is super important in this space. I 100% agree. I hope that when I get older or when Ada gets older, she feels comfortable playing this game or in any space, whatever. But it's not just about, you know, gender issues. You know, I would love to see more diversity across the board. But the game is too expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, this is true for all trading card games.
Yeah.
You know, it's like trading card games are just, it's a luxury hobby. It is what it is.
For sure.
And so if they make an online client and it's pay to play, which it will be, then you haven't fixed you haven't really fixed the problem. You just found a way to get more money out of people that could already afford to play the game.
Right.
So I'm just a little irritated with the Pixelborn decision because it's like just not a double whammy. It's like there's a lot of layers to it. It's like Disney is just going to do whatever they want. They don't really care about Ravensburger's well-being or our well-being as like consumers of the game. They're going to do what's best for them.
We really came at Disney this episode, huh?
No, just over this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, they don't care.
No, I'm not worried about Disney caring.
Wait, who's going to care?
The Disney
The fans?
people. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, even when we try to speak kindly of Disney, those same people come after us.
True. Also, though, if that's like your horse or your hill, you're gonna die on that hill of like I gotta defend Disney. They're doing all right.
Yeah, there's like this weird thing in the
They're doing just
community.
fine.
I love this community. Y'all are great. But there's this weird thing where it's like Disney super fans like will do everything they can to defend this game, and it's like you can admit that sometimes Disney's wrong. Like it's
Whoa,
okay.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
It's okay to sometimes admit that this wasn't the best decision or whatever.
We can edit that out.
I don't know. The community is very concerned about like the toxicity from other trading card games bleeding in, and sometimes I think
It's there. It's just different.
it's already there. The hyper Disney fans are bringing their own flavor of it, which is like entitlement. You know, it's like I have to have every version of every card, and if not, the system is wrong. I'm not wrong. Like,
yeah.
even though you have to win to earn this card, I deserve it. There should be a way for me to get that card.
I should have a chance.
And it's like, no. Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes you don't get everything you want. And you can still just throw enough money at it if you would like. Like, you can just go buy them.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only pickup with the community. It's like, I do
Yeah.
think there's some weird toxicity from the more casual side towards people that want to take the game in a competitive direction. And I think people are trying to have both right now. And I don't really know if you can do both super well.
Yeah.
Like, you see that with set championships where locals are complaining because these tryhards are traveling around and collecting all of their Ursulas. And then the competitive people are like, you know, well, bringing their own version of toxicity that exists in all trading card games and being rude to people that just want to play 99 puppies decks, you know?
Yeah, and just have fun, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, fun. I am doing this to earn money, and that's it.
Right.
What is fun? Yeah, I think there's...
Trying to walk a line and it's not working.
Yeah, it's not working, and I think that a big piece of the problem is the entitlement from some of the community. Like, they feel like they're owed things that they actually are not owed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't even know if I should include that. Like, that's because I don't have any beef with like the community. We're not quitting in any way because of the community. The community is great.
Yeah.
But if it's like, you know, we're on the way out the door, here's some observations. That's like one thing that I think we as a community could do a better job at. Mm-hmm. We're good at calling out problems when the competitive players are getting hyper competitive. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of calling out casual players when they're being rude in the other direction. Because I've had friends quit the game over that.
Gotcha.
Like, we've had people leave our Discord and DM us and be like, this is why I'm leaving Lorgana. That's happened more than once, which is weird.
Weird.
You wouldn't think that would happen, but it's happened twice with
Yeah.
us. Very active people in our Discord have been like, I'm done with this game because of this, that, or the other. And it's like toxicity from the casual side. And at our LGS, attendance has gone down because a lot of the more competitive players feel like they are sort of not welcome in that space.
They're taking it like too seriously.
Yeah. And that's just what people have said to me.
Yeah.
But Katie has said the opposite thing. At her shop, that she has the opposite problem. Where
Yeah.
there's the casual side is, you know, she kind of wishes things would be a little bit more casual and more friendly to casuals.
Yeah, it's like too competitive.
But maybe I'm just an a-hole, you know?
Well, that's something we can all agree
After
on.
this episode, people might be like, yeah, I kind of agree.
I actually kind of hate that guy.
No. Yeah, so I hope I don't sound in any way like bitter towards anyone.
Yeah.
I definitely have no beef with, like, honestly, with anyone. Like, Ravensburger is doing what's best for them. I get it. Honestly, if I have beef with anybody, it's Disney, because I feel like Disney is kind of getting in the way of Ravensburger. Like, why can't they record things and reshare them?
Yeah.
That has to be some weird Disney thing.
Right.
Because it just doesn't make sense to not press the record button and upload it to YouTube.
I guess you know, you get in bed with Disney and you suffer the consequences of Disney's what they want to happen.
Well,
right?
there's pros and cons, right? Like,
Yeah.
you get a huge boost because you can put Mickey Mouse on cards.
Right.
But then sometimes there's probably like
Hampers.
just a bunch of bureaucracy.
Bunch of hoops.
And like, I do think that this game will be in a space in like 3-5 years something where limited is super healthy, it's super supported, you know, it's a part of big events, but it's like we don't want to sit around and wait.
We don't
on
have
that.
the time to get there. Yeah.
So if that happens, great.
Awesome.
But for now, we just feel like we need to step away. Maybe we'll still do set reviews. We don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to really commit to anything. We'll still be around on Twitter, maybe. I honestly don't know what our relationship's going to look like with this game. Like, I love playing this game. I don't want to quit playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, a weekly podcast is just not worth it.
No.
It's not like we're burnt out. It's just literally not worth the time. Like,
Yeah.
we've talked to multiple content creators. the numbers for a lot of us have just sort of plateaued. Like they're not growing, and it's not about money, but a part of it is about growth and seeing your content get more eyes on it and things like that. And our podcast is just sort of plateaued around 2,000 downloads a month, unless it's release week. Then we get a lot.
It's a great week.
But yeah, I don't know. I love this community. I love the game. And I'm sorry I got a little sassy with the more casual players, but I feel like I at least needed to say something.
Whatever you needed, man, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I didn't articulate that well. I don't know. I really don't have beef with like Disney fans. Like I get it, but like Disney fans have came at us for our expertise of Disney, and it's like I never claimed to be a Disney person. Like I like Disney, but I don't know who Oswald was before this. So.
Dude, Oswald?
Yeah.
You serious?
Hey, we got that question wrong at trivia.
I still don't know who Oswald is.
It's like the OG rabbit.
Rabbit?
But before Mickey Mouse, there was like a rabbit.
Oh, his name is Oswald.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh. Well, you learned something.
There we go. I'm a Disney guy.
We're not Disney people.
I'm a Disney guy now.
Don't worry, they'll come for us.
I am a Disney person. I like Disney movies.
I do too. But we're not up to date with the lore, so some people think that we don't deserve the platform.
No.
I mean, I'm just going based off of comments and conversations we've had with listeners. Okay, well, that's that, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what's next for us, but for now, we're taking a step back. If you want updates from us, you can find the updates on Twitter or on Reddit. That's probably the place, not Reddit.
Discord.
Twitter or Discord.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we'll probably share updates.
Yep.
And I just wanted to say once again, thank you to all of our listeners.
For real.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it wasn't too much of a bummer. Hopefully I wasn't too sassy. I don't know.
Well, we'll listen back. Thanks for going through the journey with us. Everyone who did.
Yeah.
Everyone who's along for the ride.
If you're listening to this episode still, you're one of our regular listeners. For sure.
And you've been through it.
For sure. Let me look at my notes real quick. Did I get everything? Oh, well, we talked a little bit about how Ravensburger doesn't seem to care too much about Limited. I would love to see them invest some more time in like refining the actual drafting process. I think packs should be cheaper, or they should have more cards in them so that people don't have to pay, $24 just to get the packs to draft.
Right.
Like those are like, probably should have spent more time talking about that.
The big things.
Those would be the big things.
Yeah.
Is like if you could make drafting more accessible, I think people would do it more.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a hard sell for people to pay $24 even to get the packs necessary to do a
just
draft.
Play, yeah.
We're not even talking about pricing and stuff.
Right.
Like you're paying $35 to do a draft. That's a lot for some people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, quit communicating via random messages in Discord, and then people have to screenshot them and share them. Please stop doing that. Please just like any meaningful information, just like tweet it or something.
Just put it in a place where it makes sense.
It's so confusing when you just have random Discord replies from Ravensburger employees that have to get screenshotted and shared everywhere. So, yeah, random things.
Yeah.
I think that's my list.
Mm-hmm.
Great game. Love it. Love y'all.
Love you guys.
This was great.
Love you, man.
Love you too, brother.
That's why I'm here.
All right. Well, we'll announce our new podcast soon. We're going to be discussing Disney movies?
Yeah, we're going to be focused on Disney movies.
Maybe, yeah.
Wouldn't that be a great pivot?
Should we end with a pack one, pick one?
Yeah, do you have another?
Nah, I'm kidding. Making the pod with you, brother.
Oh, always.
All right. Tata, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Last outro is going to be Tata, y'all.
Yeah or no? Why is it still... Okay.
What? It's centering.
The grid was still there, so I didn't know.
Psych.
Oh, yeah, just kidding. Oh, we're back. We're not leaving. We did leave, actually. Here's why we're back. We recorded that. We sat on it for a while. We talked about it. And, we stand by what we said, but we felt like the episode was incomplete. We didn't want to go out like that.
No.
And I couldn't let the last thing you said be ta-ta. So
that's fair.
So we just felt like there was more to be said before we go out For real, for real. And we wanted to end on a lighter note.
Yeah. So start good.
Dip down. Back up.
Back up. Now, I will say there's been a lot of creators that have quit since we recorded this. We recorded this before they all quit.
Yeah, we thought of quitting first.
Yeah, Jonty, you thought you were the tip of the spear. We're the tip of the spear.
That's what my dad always said. I quit first.
Yeah, you can't fire me, Ravensburger. We quit.
So we got a little more to say.
The South's got something to say.
What?
I don't know, it's an Outcast quote.
Oh, nice.
Well, I was gonna go into talking about the Olympics, but this isn't a new episode, so we can't do banter.
No friendly banter, yeah.
But I will say women's rugby has me ready to run through a wall. Have you ever watched?
Dude, I did watch
Dude, it is unreal. And they played 2 games today.
I can't even imagine that. They're like, no, we're good. We'll go again.
Could you imagine American football doing 2 games in a day?
No.
And they're like, yeah, no pads, just cue it up.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're not talking about that.
No. We got one.
We're gonna do a listener question.
Yeah.
Because this isn't low. This is just something that we should have touched on more.
Right.
Because we listened back. Because I thought maybe we whined too much.
Yeah.
And by we, I mean me.
For sure.
But I stand by what I said.
Yeah. We only whined a little bit.
Yeah.
Well.
And I wanted to touch on something because we got a listener question since we recorded, and it is something that I wanted to discuss anyways. So, a Pizzle Fo Shizzle said in our Discord, this might be a whole podcast in itself, but here's my question anyway. What is the competitive scene like for limited formats? Are there major tournaments dedicated solely to limited, or are they always run as side events to constructed tournaments? If major tournaments are run, how does the prizing compare to their constructed counterparts? There's also another question from Shiny Horus. These are just sort of related, and I'm going to talk about all of it, and then we'll do fun stuff at the end.
Yeah, this is fun.
Shiny Horus said, one question I've had pretty much since set 1 / learning about limited. Folks keep saying Lorcana obviously wasn't designed with limited / draft in mind. What does that even mean? Lorcana is my only TCG, but I've done draft, sealed, and starter deck events. All the limited formats, and it's always super fun and seems to play just fine right out of the pack without having to jerry-rig a bunch of house rules. So what makes a game designed or not for limited? Why is Lorcana supposedly not one of those games? What would be different about Lorcana to make it more suited to limited?
That's a lot.
Hey, great questions.
Yeah, lovely questions.
So we are big fans of Lorcana Limited, obviously. We think it's great. We do also agree with the sentiment, though, that it feels sort of like a Band-Aid solution as opposed to like something that gets at the forefront of their mind when they're designing sets and when they design the game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to talk about all of this in one, but it might be easier to address a Pizzle for Shizzle's question first. Because this is all one sort of thing. We would love to see Ravensburger more actively support Limited as a format.
Yeah.
At the moment, they're not doing that, but I do legitimately think that like a year or 2 from now, it will be more at the forefront of the game. It will never replace Constructed. Constructed will always be number 1. But in Magic the Gathering, what they do, sorry for mentioning it, reset the counter. The competitive scene in Lorcana, because I clarified, are you talking about Lorcana, a Pizzle for Shizzle, or are you talking about TCGs in general?
Yes.
In general, the way that Limited is incorporated into the competitive scene is that they'll do something called like a mixed format where they will start off a tournament by doing a draft, and then the draft ratings, like the wins and losses, will factor into how they do seeding for the constructed segment. So in Lorcana, you would do an 8-person draft, and if I have, if I go 3-0, then when I start playing sealed in round 4 of the tournament, because we've now done 3 rounds of draft, like you play 3 rounds like normal.
Yep.
And then you do sealed. You would play against other people that went 3-0 in draft. So your score at the end of the day in Lorcana, the number of points that you've earned, is a sum of how you've done in Constructed and in Limited.
That's cool.
They both factor in.
Yeah.
But Constructed, there's a few more rounds, so it has a little bit more of a weight.
Yeah.
So that's what we would like to see in the game.
That's nice because you gotta, you have to be good at both.
Yeah, you have to be good at both. And being good at draft means that you start off in a better footing going into Swiss. You're playing against other 3-0s, which might not sound good, but in terms of how the tournament typically plays out, you want to get those 3-0s in draft. I mean, just for the sake of it, but also for the sake of placing well once it's time to start playing constructed.
Sure.
Major tournaments dedicated solely to limited. Yes, there are, but they're very uncommon in Magic. In some games, it's more common, but sometimes they will do like a sealed tournament or like a draft tournament. And usually for a draft tournament, they'll do a couple of pods.
Yeah.
Because you can't just do like 8 people draft and then, you play 3 games or usually you play people that are in that pod. You can't play a cross pod. That's part of drafting is you're playing against other people that had the same pool of cards as you. Okay, so that's part of the problem is like we would love to see limited be incorporated into high level tournaments.
Yeah.
We'd also love to see them say to stores, hey store, if you want to do a limited set championship, you can.
Yeah.
So then people could earn Ursulas and Stitches by doing a set championship for sealed, probably.
That'd be great.
That's what we'd like to see.
It's possible.
How does the pricing compare? It's similar. It depends on the buy-in. Usually they're smaller events because there's less interest in limited formats in general in games. And so a format or a tournament that's just dedicated to limited is going to have a smaller prize pool because there's going to be smaller engagement.
Right.
But the pricing is the same. There'll be like a 1K or a 10K or whatever. And then for mixed event, that's usually in Magic for like super high level events, like their version of like a DLC. So the pricing it would be the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't impact the pricing at all.
Right.
Any thoughts so far?
No, that'd be great. I mean, I just like the idea of putting them together, and it seems like it kind of seems natural to do that.
Yeah, it would be nice, but they might do it. Like, I could see them saying at Continentals, now we're doing mixed format.
Yeah.
I could see them saying that. And if so, we might be back. No, right now they want to focus on constructed. I get it.
Yeah.
There's no ill will towards them or towards people that are all in unconstructed and not interested in playing limited. Because a lot of people say that limited's not fun or drafting is easy, you just pick the best card. First of all, I think that those people haven't drafted much because you're assuming that people can easily identify what's the best card.
What's the best card in that, yeah.
That's a big assumption,
Right.
Like, what's the best card in constructed is not always what's the best card in sealed.
Correct.
Now, when you see Diablo, you pick Diablo. We get that. But you're not seeing Diablo every pack. So pack, your 6th pick, what are you taking? I do think that the drafting format and sealed right now is skill intensive, like in terms of actually building your deck.
Right.
But I'm starting to answer Shiny Horace's question because there's 2 sides to this. If you want to say Lorcana wasn't designed with limited in mind, I would agree with that statement. If you want to say that Lorcana draft and sealed is super easy and not fun because you just pick the best card, I disagree with that statement because I think you haven't done enough of it. And I think you haven't done enough of it with high-skilled players to be able to identify that it's not that simple.
Right.
Because picking the best card is the part that's challenging.
Right. You're trying to analyze cards honestly, it's not like you're sitting at home like we are just talking through a card, right? You're sitting there with other competitors trying to do this quickly, relatively, and in a different format. So like you said, it's not going to be just, I know this is a good constructed card, so it's great here too. That's not how it works.
You can't just pick the legendary. Okay, so I don't really want to spend too much time talking on the point of like, you just pick the best card. I don't think that's a valid criticism. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think that is an inaccurate claim, and I think it shows that you maybe don't have a whole lot of reps in actually doing a draft or a sealed event against high-skilled players. The other side of this is Lorcana was not designed with limited or draft in mind. I do think that is an accurate assessment, and this is not a dig at Ravensburger, but I think that they are doing some things with limited in mind, but overall, their overall card design philosophy is constructed first and then maybe throw a bone or two towards limited.
Yeah.
So what would it look like if Lorcana was more designed with limited or draft in mind, with limited in mind? If you look at other games, there is more intention and more focus given towards the set cohesion for a limited format. So in Magic, there's this concept of a thing called like a signpost uncommon, which means there are cards that are created specifically with draft in mind to show you this is the archetype for this color pair in this set. So in the set that was just released, Bloomburrow, I think red and green was like lizards, and they're focused on, I don't even remember what they're focused on, but it's like you look at the red-green lizard and you're like, okay, I know what red and green are trying to do. It helps show you the themes of a set. And Lorcana, we don't really have that. There's not really a clear thing that we can look at to be like, what is blue trying to do this set? Like, there's not a super strong color identity. And I think they could make a stronger color identity in Lorcana, and it would help with limited.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's one piece. Another piece is the actual product itself. So a 12 card booster pack, there's 6 colors. So that means on average, each color is going to get 2 cards per booster pack. That's problematic for if you want to try to do any sort of color restriction for drafting.
Right.
So like if you wanted to say in draft, you can only do 2 colors, or you can only do 3 colors.
You're going to have to open a lot of packs.
Now you have to open even more packs to hit a critical mass of getting 40 cards.
Right.
Or you have to introduce something weird, like you can do cards that are just ink. They don't... Like you can play off-color cards, but they're just for ink.
Right.
So it gets a little bit weird. And that's what that piece is what makes me claim that it was an afterthought.
Right.
Because you didn't have to do 6 colors. You could have done 5 colors, which would have helped with the problem. You didn't have to do 12 card packs. You could have done 15 card packs or 14, and then we would have been able to do a draft with 3 packs instead of 4.
Yeah.
It's too expensive, right? Like $6 a pack for 4 packs is $24 MSRP just to do a draft, not even beginning to do any sort of price support.
Yeah.
Sealed, you need 6 packs. That's $36 just there, no price support. So the prices are expensive. They don't have enough cards, and that's like the first hurdle for Lorcana Limited.
Yeah.
Like it's too expensive because there's not enough cards in the packs, right? Okay, so that's one piece of the problem. If they wanted to prioritize limited, they would have put a few extra commons or uncommons in the pack. It wouldn't have changed anything about the value of anything because all of the commons and uncommons aren't worth anything anyways.
Yeah.
That would have been helpful for limited to help us fire off more drafts.
Right.
Because people complain about the price, and I get it. Like, it is expensive. In the long run, I don't think it's that big of a deal when you compare it to building, a $400 constructed deck.
Yeah.
A $400 constructed deck is like a $400 constructed deck is like 10 drafts.
Yeah.
More or less.
Right.
So, I don't know. That's a separate argument.
Yeah.
But it's expensive. There's not enough cards. And the last thing is it's not designed with limited in mind. If you look at what the cards actually do, like if you look at how the cards work together when you build a limited deck, it doesn't feel as cohesive as it could without impacting constructed.
Yeah.
Look at the new Merlin that was, as an example. The new Merlin is like a 1/4 that quests for 2. Your character's name Arthur can get quest for 1 more lore. That could have easily been a 2/4 that quest for 2.
Right.
It wouldn't have broken anything for constructed, but it would have been slightly more playable in limited.
Yeah.
Or if you look at the Panic and Pain combos, sometimes those cards are good on their own, but it's like they could have been slightly better, and then they would have been slightly more playable and limited without breaking anything,
messing anything up in constructed. Yeah.
Or they give us like these little 2-card combos, like if you have Panic and Pain or Flotsam and Jetsam. But they'll make one of them like a rare.
Yeah.
Or they'll make one of them just not be even playable.
Yeah.
That is something that they could easily do. Either get rid of just caring about 2 cards and make it more like what we saw in Ursula's Return, which cares about heroes.
Yeah.
The heroes matter synergy, the more general synergies is better for limited without breaking anything for constructed.
Yeah. Yep.
Whereas when they're just like, if you have, what was it, Trigger and happy or whatever. I don't know. They have a bunch of those, and they're very rarely good unless both of those cards are good on their own. Like Flotsam and Jetsam in this format is one of the best things you can do in the format, but I would take Flotsam without Jetsam or vice versa.
It's still, still playable.
So I don't know if I'm saying this super clearly.
I think you are, yeah.
Maybe one of the best ways is to look at some of the other games. Go look at how draft works in Star Wars Unlimited, and you can tell that the packs were very clearly designed with draft in mind. They're affordable packs that offer support for Limited very easily. There's no weird rules that you have to do.
Yep.
And it's a lot of fun. Like if you go try Limited in another game, it makes you understand why it seems like Limited is not
the priority in this game.
Yeah.
And why it's not the most popular, because it just didn't have the forefront. And all it comes down to, like, your game design, right? The people in the room, or whatever the initial goal was for this game. And that's okay. That wasn't their goal, but clearly they weren't sitting in the room, like, with somebody being like, what about Limited?
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, like, Lorcana is a great game. So if we have to sacrifice a playable Limited format to have a good game, I'm fine with that. It sucks for us, but I get it.
Yeah.
But like now that they have a handful of sets under their belt, it would be nice. They can make these changes.
Right,
like it's not like I have faith that they will do this. I think having like doing playtesting for Limited in addition to Constructed, I'm not in the room. I don't know what they're doing.
Right.
But it feels like they could put a little bit more thought into Limited.
Yeah.
Like even testing or offering different ways to play Limited instead of saying there's no color restriction. You could offer like a color restriction tax similar to what they do in Star Wars Unlimited, where it's like you pick your 2 main colors, and if you want to play anything off color, you just have to pay an extra 2 ink.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So trying some different rules like that and having events where they do testing of different things, and they might be doing this. Maybe they're testing this behind the scenes.
Right.
Maybe they were just like, this game needs to come out. For now, Limited is just no color restriction. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
Well, I'm ready for later to be now.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
That's that.
Yeah, I think that all makes sense.
I think
that answers your questions.
I hope so.
Shiny Horse and who else asked?
A pizzle.
A pizzle.
For shizzle.
Faux shizzle.
Okay. Well, yeah. If you hear all that and you're like, Limited still sucks. It's not a good format. I disagree with you. I think it's a great format. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's more skill intensive than Constructed.
You're probably also not listening to this if that's how you feel.
Amen. Now we have a curveball here.
Yeah.
For the first time in 60 episodes, you actually contributed.
I did.
You wrote down 8 bullet points on things to discuss on a high note. So we're going to do a retrospective looking back on the podcast and go over some bullet points that you
did this at work during my workday, actually. It's great. Now that I'm back at work, I can help. When I had all that free time, there was really no time to contribute. But yeah, I wanted to look back at the last year. I thought it'd be fun to like think about some things over time, where we came from, what we did. So that's what we're doing. So Jake, do you want to start on one? Are we doing all these?
Yeah, we can just, I don't know,
do a few.
See where the spirit leads us.
All right.
Most gratifying podcast moment.
Yeah, do you have one? Did you think about these at all? Because I didn't. I just wrote them down. I didn't think about answers.
I read over them, and I don't know. We'll see if I thought about them. We can cut any of these out.
That's so true.
I'm not editing. The podcast is over. I'm done editing.
You're getting the true unfiltered.
They're surprised that I was editing in the first place. Most gratifying podcast moment.
I have mine.
Okay, go.
Man. Oh, you know what I'm gonna say?
No, you have yours.
Do you have?
No, you said you have yours, and then you're like, oh.
Well, then I started thinking about it. I didn't want it. Do you have one?
No.
Okay, what I was thinking of was we went to Atlanta to the tournament and talked to a judge there that was a listener, and he was just telling us about that he enjoyed our podcast, and he's like, I just make coffee in the morning, I put you guys on, just listen to you while I'm like doing my morning stuff. And I don't know, that was just like meant a lot to me, because I think it took me that long to be like, oh, people are listening to this. People are listening to this, not like, well, they're not listening to this for my input on how to play the game, but just like I put you on to listen to you and just like have you on in the background, and like I was like, that's great.
Yeah.
that made me feel good.
No, absolutely. Atlanta was, I think, really encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
I think having Artabax on was pretty encouraging because I have been watching him stream, and he's a really good player. Having him come on and then compliment the podcast was really encouraging.
Yeah.
But also just being really engaging with, like, advocating for us and being like, this is a really good podcast. They should be getting more eyes and ears.
Yeah.
Getting that from a highly competitive player was very encouraging because being focused on limited, I feel like competitive players don't take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them do, some of them don't. But having a very well-respected competitive player compliment the podcast was, I think, really encouraging.
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, getting some of the guests that we got was a big... Getting any guests was a big
Yeah,
deal.
absolutely.
Truthfully.
I'm surprised anybody came on this show. What was your biggest regret, Lorcana or podcast related?
Yeah. Do you have one?
Maybe, I mean, Lorcana related, throwing at the end of the set championship when I threw it and lost the playmat.
Oh,
That was,
yeah.
I regret that.
Yeah, I don't know why you did that.
Podcast related, I don't know. I feel like we've learned a lot as we went.
Yeah. I don't think I have any regrets podcast related, honestly.
I mean, you wrote it.
Or Lorcana related. I don't know. I just thought maybe there's something you're like, oh, I wish I would have done this.
Do you wish that you had learned how songs work?
No, I have no regrets about that. I wish we would have made $1 million.
Oh, yeah, I regret that.
We should have like been making money.
Yeah, I regret that. Best card you couldn't make happen.
Yeah, something you were just like, I'm gonna use this card. It's gonna be great, but it didn't pan out.
Well, in limited, any alternate win condition I like.
Yeah.
So like Grand Pabby, that never worked.
Oh yeah, you really were shooting for that.
Snuggly Duckling, that one was okay, but any game where Snuggly Duckling was good, I was gonna win that game anyways.
Yeah.
So
Didn't
yeah.
alter the.
Outside of that, I really like Chernobog in Constructed, but I haven't seen a deck where he's particularly good. But with the new Robin Hood that just came out, it's a good way to get characters into your discard deck. So I might be playing Yellow Red Mufasa next set.
There you go.
And use him to fill my graveyard up with characters.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. So maybe Chernobog's making a comeback.
Ayo.
Funniest online exchange. I have this.
I was like, you gotta have something for this answer. You're more likely on the handling our online stuff.
So this isn't. I'm not gonna. I have two.
Okay.
One of them. We'll come back to one at the end. I'll say there's a. I don't want to single anybody out, but anytime I post a card evaluation on Twitter, or even sometimes in our every once in a while this happens in our Discord, I'll share my opinions on a card within the context of limited.
Yeah.
And people will hop in and be like, "What are you talking about, you idiot? This card sucks." And I'm like, "I'm not talking about Constructed. Like, look at our handle. It says the Limited Lorcana Podcast. Like, we're not talking about Constructed." So that makes me laugh every time.
Yeah. To be fair though, too, nobody understood what our name was ever.
Fortyborn?
Maybe that was the biggest regret, is having our name be something that no one understood.
Yeah, maybe we should have just been the Limited Lorcana Podcast.
Yeah, I do still like it though. Kind of glad no one got it.
Yeah. A little inside joke.
Okay.
Hope to be a part of one someday. Favorite episode?
Oh man, I should have looked back at this because I know I have an answer, but
I like the one that we did where it was stuff nobody asked for.
Oh, that one was fun.
The one that was not Lorcana related.
Was that we just said like our favorite things of the year?
Yeah, favorite movies and whatnot.
That was a good one. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
What's your favorite episode?
That was probably the most I felt like I contributed to an episode.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's not so much like I think of one episode in particular, but just my favorite thing is just randomly when I would just go back and listen. Like I would just hop back to a random episode and just see what BS we were talking about in the beginning.
Yeah.
Just listen the first like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's
Georgia football.
a lot of that. A lot of sports.
Hey, August 31st.
August 30th.
Dude, our schedule is brutal.
Really? I didn't even look.
It's bad.
Well,
Yeah. But top 12 make it, so I still feel pretty good about us.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Favorite episode? Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
What you're most proud of regarding the pod? Honestly, that we did it
For a year, dude.
for a year.
I'm proud of you for all the time and effort you put in.
No. What am I most proud of regarding the pod? We set, like, every goal that we set, we accomplished until, like, the last few months.
Yeah.
Where it was like the podcast has stopped growing the last few months. I feel like we don't have a whole lot of control over that.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could make the argument, oh, well, you should change your type of content, or you should, invest in better thumbnails or whatever. I don't want to spend more time. I don't want to learn a new skill set. I don't want to pay somebody to do it. And I like the content that we make. Like we could do news content or constructed content, and we would probably get more eyes. But I don't like talking about those things.
No.
Like there are already people that do that way better than we can.
Yeah. Also, if the thumbnails were what's drawn you to,
Yeah.
our show, I don't need that.
Yeah. Yeah, the thumbnails.
You did great, man. The thumbnails were great.
They're fun.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of the fact that
You said me. You're most proud of me.
Honestly, the most proud I felt was when we went to Atlanta and you did really well.
Oh yeah.
Because I felt like I know you know what you're talking about. But I felt like it was like validating.
Yeah, that was very validating.
To be like, oh, like I can come in. Our space is limited. You can come into a constructed tournament and do well.
I will say,
I feel like a proud dad.
I saw somebody on Twitter was like, "Why are multiple content creators quitting?" And somebody replied on Twitter and was like, "Because they went to Disney Lorcana challenges and realized how bad they were." What was that?
Come again?
Where's your let it go?
You gotta let it go, dude.
I'm not letting that go. They're coming after Jonty and Becky and Katie and the guys on the Glimmer Gang.
Well, yeah, there's probably only one person you can say that about.
That person?
It's this guy.
Wait, what do you mean?
That I'm not good at the game.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well,
but
also,
yeah, that's...
it's funny to say that, and it's like, Jonty was at every one of them, but he was commentating.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
It's just, that's what you can't engage with
No.
idiots on Twitter, but I saw that, and I was like, that's so ridiculous.
It's funny.
If you made another podcast, what would it be about? I have my answer.
What's your answer?
I'm never going to do this, but I think a podcast where I interview people that are like experts on something super niche about that thing. Like I'm really fascinated by like subcultures.
Yeah.
And I think talking to people that are really passionate about a particular subculture is fascinating to me.
That's got to exist, right?
Well, I'm not doing it.
Maybe you should. Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you do it? Just
because I don't want to. That feels like a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. You got to find people that are good. So
I'm sure somebody's doing that. If you know that about that podcast, send it my way.
Yeah, you would enjoy that.
What about you?
Man, I think it would be about. It would just be an ode to Minnesota. It would just be great things about Minnesota. I'm just kidding. I think it'd be about like mental health or kids mental health. Something I actually know.
Who would listen to
about.
it? Kids?
I don't know. I don't want to make content for kids because I feel like whenever I see that, it just seems weird to me.
Yeah.
Like Blippi. Have you heard of Blippi, dude? Don't look it up. Anyways, I don't know who would listen to that. People who care about mental health. Yeah, maybe parents. Maybe it'd be like cool. For parents on talking to their kids about stuff like that.
I feel like if you're listening to that podcast, though, you're probably already a decent parent.
Yeah, that's true. No one's like, yeah, you're right. That's why it doesn't exist, and it won't.
No terrible parent is like, you know what, I need a podcast on this.
I've got to learn how to talk to my kids about mental health.
Yeah.
You're right.
No, but I'm sorry to shut down your dream. You should do that.
No, I don't. I won't. I will never.
I'm sorry.
Will you produce it and do all the work? Because then I'm in.
No, I'm done. If I do this again, I'm gonna have an intern.
Yeah. All right, Jake. Last question. What are you gonna miss the most about Fortyborn? This one's easy.
Like I've said, like you and I are still gonna hang out
for sure,
and I'm still gonna play the game. So mostly just interacting with the community.
Yeah.
Because the community makes me laugh a lot. Like the things that people get really excited or really upset about are pretty comical to me sometimes.
So fun, yeah.
It's like I am shocked that it's like people posted a spoiler with their face in front of the card. Did you see people?
No, I didn't.
People were so worked up about that on Twitter. It's like, who cares? Like, just if you wait 2 days, you'll see the card without a Spanish dude's face on it.
Actually, I have a hot take regarding like cards and spoilers. I think it's fine to just release whatever card we see, even if it hasn't been officially released. I think it's fine.
Oh yeah, leaks.
I'm all about leaks.
Yeah,
that's
not an us problem.
If somebody got them, release them. I mean, I'm like, it exists out there. Why not let people see it?
Well, we were trying to stay on Ravensburger's good side. but
Yeah, I won't do that. I would never do that myself.
you can't burn a bridge that doesn't exist.
I'm just I'm just saying.
Your alt account,
I'm totally fine with people doing that.
41st born.
People get mad about that. I'm like, I'm not mad about it at all.
Very few things related to this game have made me angry.
Yeah.
I think the sassy comment about people who quit are bad at the game, that might be the first time I got mad.
I agree with you. I'm going to miss the community. I'm going to miss going to the Discord because even though I don't say much in there, I do often just go and like peruse, and it's fun and it's nice.
It's still going to be there.
Yeah.
We don't know what it's going to look like, but it'll still be around.
True. I'll miss that. I'll miss the people.
Yeah,
I think the people involved.
For sure. For sure. You want to end with a pack one, pick one? No, I got this pack.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Open it.
That's my other answer to funniest online exchange. I'm not gonna name the guest, but we had a guest on, and we were like, "Do you want to end with our pack one, pick one segment?" And the guest was like, "Yeah, what pack are we gonna open?" And I realized this person has never listened to an episode of our podcast.
Not once. At that point, we had a decent amount out. Too. Like, we were doing it regularly.
So for the first time, a pack one, pick one is actually going to be a pack one, pick one of Ursula's Return.
I love it.
It's not enchanted. We got TikTok. That's great. That's the pick for now.
Okay.
Hidden Cove. That's garbage.
Garbage. Get it out of here.
Tuk Tuk.
Oh.
That's good, but that's not what we're picking first.
Cute though.
Record player.
I can tell you right now what that's like.
Binja.
Okay.
No.
Bye, Binja.
Still not as good as TikTok. TikTok's gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah.
Thebes. How do you say that?
Thebes.
Okay. I say no. That's how I pronounce it.
Not a Disney guy.
Ooh, Pegasus.
Okay.
All right, so it's Pegasus or TikTok. Ooh, Medallion Weights. Medallion Weights is good. It's not as good as I actually thought it was going into the format.
We were hyped about Medallion Weights, but I tried to tell you. No,
I still like it.
It's good, but it's a metal on a tree.
We got Dig a Little Deeper.
I always do.
That's in consideration. Our first rare, Miss Potts.
Oh.
When you play this character, if you have a character named Lumiere or Cogsworth in play, you may draw a card.
Lame.
No.
I'm not going to have that.
Triton. Banish one of your items. Gain 3 lore. I don't play items in this format, so that's gone.
Never going to happen.
I only play Medallion Weights. And Fortisphere. And then our holo is Training Grounds.
Okay.
I actually don't mind Training Grounds. I think it's pretty good. It's better than I thought it was.
Yeah.
But I'm not picking it. So we're between Medallion Weights, Pegasus, Dig a Little Deeper, and TikTok. First pick. So the Sing Together cards have really impressed me this format.
Yeah.
I might take that one. I'm liking TikTok though.
Yeah.
Pegasus is good. It's really good if you can shift them. But I like TikTok over Pegasus, honestly.
Same.
Because TikTok can quest for 1 or it can control the evasive side of things. So between TikTok, Dig a Little Deeper, and Medallion Weights, I'm leaning towards Dig a Little Deeper, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, because look at the top 7, pick 2. It's really performed well for me.
Yeah.
So I'm probably between Dig a Little Deeper and TikTok.
Yeah, see, now the Dig a Little Deeper lost me at Sing, so I would go with TikTok personally.
But also, in my experience, people don't really like the Sing Together cards, so it might come back around the table to me.
That's true. And it's high, and it's not inkable, so people might just be like, no, I'm not doing that.
Oof, yeah, I don't know what to take here. What would you take between these 3?
Tell us.
I think in this situation, TikTok is a safe pick. Medallion Weights, a lot of people are going to go for. There's no way that comes back around.
Nope.
But I think I'm going to Dig a Little Deeper.
Wow. Getting crazy.
Yeah, because then I can draw cards, and I can pick up some of the singers maybe.
You're right.
That would be my pick. But I could see a few options in there. Notably, none of them are rare because our rares were trash.
Right.
That's another thing. If you want to make limited better, give us some more rares that aren't terrible.
Yeah, good rares would be nice.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
we did it. We did real pack one, pick one.
Yeah, we did a pack one, pick one. Anything else you want to say before we go?
I wish I had some profound final speech for you all, but honestly, I never said much that was profound. So,
and that's profound.
We love you guys.
Tata, y'all. In this.
That was great.